Hi. So this question is asking you to explain the difference between physical and chemical properties using examples. So first, let's go over what a physical property is. A physical property is a property that can only be observed during physical changes. And physical changes, you can determine that depending on if the substance involved changes its identity or chemical composition. So let me show you an example to make that a little more clear. Here we have an ice cube, which is solid water, right? And then I add some heat to it. And of course, that ice cube melts and becomes liquid water. So, is this a physical change, or has the identity of the substance changed from when I added the heat? No, right? The identity of the substance is still the same. It is still water. It's still H2O. It might have changed the physical state, but the identity and chemical composition of the substance itself has not changed. So this is a physical change, and therefore we are exploring a physical property. And the physical property we are exploring is the melting point, or the temperature at which a particular substance will convert from solid to liquid. Now let's look at chemical properties. So chemical properties are the exact opposite. They can only be observed in scenarios in which the substance does change its identity or chemical composition. So let's look at the example. Here we have hydrogen gas indicated by H2, and then we burn it, indicated by a little fire there, in the presence of oxygen or O2. So hydrogen gas being burned in the presence of oxygen or combusted in the presence of oxygen. And we get a product which is water or H2O, right? So as you can see, the chemical composition of the reactants, which is our H2 and O2, are very different than the chemical composition of the products, which is H2O. There's a completely different arrangement. There are different chemical bonds at place in here. So therefore, this is a chemical change, and therefore we're looking at a chemical property. And the chemical property we're looking at here is the heat of combustion, or the amount of heat required to combust a particular substance or burn a particular substance in the presence of oxygen. So let me give you a quick rundown of what physical and chemical properties are. That'll help you to maybe summarize what we just did here. So physical properties are properties that can only be observed if in scenarios in which you undergo physical change, which means that the substance does change its identity or chemical composition. And chemical properties are the exact opposite, where they're properties that you can only observe if the identity of the substance does change. So I hope this was helpful and allowed you to understand chemical and physical properties a little bit more. Thanks for listening.